Hey guys, Bonehead here again, doing another Star Wars The Old Republic build. Once again, it's an upgrade from one of my older builds, now incorporating the level 55 that you can now get to. So, as you can see, we're doing the Sith Assassin trees. Sith Assassin is one of my favourite classes, and you've got your Darkness, Deception, and Madness trees for your tanking and damage rolls. So the build we're focusing on today is the Deception tree. It focuses mainly on like backstabs and invisibility and things, so kind of a rogue kind of build. And let's get started. So I'll do the other trees first, the points I put into them, and then we'll get stuck into the Deception. So first thing we want to get 3 points here on Charge Mastery. You can see here for your surging charge, which will be the charge that we use for this build, it actually increases armor penetration by 9%, so anytime you can negate the enemy's armor is going to be very helpful to you when you're trying to deal out good damage. Next thing we want to pick up over in the Madness tree is Exploitive Strikes, all 3 points into that. Critical hits with force attacks increase your melee crit chance by 9%. This will work especially good when you're chasing someone down. A lot of your force abilities are the ones that have longer range, so you'll be throwing them out while you're chasing someone down, and then you'll come in with your melee attacks with a higher crit chance. And then we want to pick up 2 points here on Torment. Reduce the force cost of Thrash, Assassinate, and Voltaic Slash by 2, and Shock by 6. So these are all some of the main abilities that you'd be using. Voltaic Slash is obviously the top tier one for Deception, and Shock, there's a lot of boosts throughout the build that'll help Shock become more and more powerful, so having less force cost on that so you can throw it down when you want is going to be very good. That'll unlock the next tier for us to pick up Oppressing Force, 2 points into that. Lowers the cooldown of Electrocute by 10 seconds, that's basically the only reason I get it. It also gives you multiple targets on your Whirlwind, but I don't really use Whirlwind very much. But having 10 seconds less cooldown on Electrocute, which is your big main stun ability to immobilize and stun the enemy, having that being able to cast more often is always going to be very good for it. This build focuses a lot on increasing your mobility and trying to keep up with people and stun them and stop them in their tracks, so you can catch up and dish out a lot of damage. And so that's all the points I do outside of the Deception tree. Next one is all the main build. So see here, first thing, Chain Shock, 3 points into that. When you activate Shock, you have a 45% chance to activate a second shock dealing half the damage. So it's gonna just a double shock instead of a single. Next thing we want to get is 2 points into Dark Embrace. While in stealth mode and for 6 seconds after, force regeneration is increased, and if you run out of force you can't do anything, so the more force building we can get in this build the better. Next one we want to get is Avoidance, 2 points in this. This is a very important ability. Reduce the cooldown of Jolt. Jolt is another stun ability. Unbreakable Will, which is when you get stunned. Having 30 seconds less cooldown on that is going to be a big help. And then the Force Speed by 5, and Force Speed is obviously your charge attack, that sort of thing, or just charge ability, so you can get up close quickly. And so that's the bottom tier done. Next tier, Obfuscation. You want to get both points into this. Increases your effective stealth level by 4 and movement speed by 15. So when you go invisible you can actually move quicker, which is going to be very good. You can go stealth and run up and get a good backstab off on them, or rather maul, which is the next thing here, Assassin's Mark. 3 points into that, increased damage dealt by maul. You basically want to be using your maul whenever you can. It's one of the main things for when you're invisible to be using. So that's I don't actually go anything into installation, as I did with the last build of this. The extra armor rating while having surging charge doesn't actually boost it that much, and I'd rather use the points towards getting more damage, so I ignore that one. Next thing, pick up surging charge. So charge your lightsaber with raw energy, have a 25% chance to deal a whole bunch of internal damage and build static charges. So static charges make your discharge attack do more damage, so that'll build as you use your abilities. You'll actually build up static charges to do a more damaging discharge ability. Then you want to get here 2 points to induction. Increases the critical strike damage of maul, and as well your thrash, maul, lacerate, assassinate, voltaic slash, all your main attack abilities will give you induction, which actually reduces the force cost of your shock. So as long with the torment, your shock will be very cheap to cast, so you can throw it down as soon as you're ready to throw one down, to get that big AoE hit of damage. Next thing we want is Dark Swell. So this exiting stealth mode will now finish the cooldown of Blackout, and you can actually cast Blackout while you're out of stealth, which will give you Dark Embrace, which restores extra force. And while it's active, all damage taken is reduced by 25. So what you do is, when you break out of stealth with a maul attack or something, you can hit Dark Swell. That'll give you extra force to keep fighting and actually reduce the damage you take at the same time. So that's a very, very good little ability, that one, to pick up. Next one, Deceptive Power. Just get yourself an extra 10 force. Like I said, you run out of force, you can't do anything. So having all these things that increase your force is going to be very good to keep you in the fight. Next tier, 2 points here into Fade. Reduce the cooldown of Blackout and Force Cloak. So Blackout obviously is this one here. Force Cloak is your ability to go back into invisible even while you're in combat. So having that, being able to cast that whenever you need it, is going to be really effective. And it reduces the damage taken from area effect attacks. So yeah, a good couple of points there for that. Next thing, 3 points here into Duplicity. Direct damage attacks have a 30% chance to grant Duplicity, making your next maul deal 30% more damage and cost 75% less force. So again, your abilities are going to cost less force when you're using them. It cannot occur more than once every 15 seconds. So that's as you're doing your attacks, and all your direct damage attacks are mainly what you're doing. You're burning down one target, so all those attacks are going to count towards this. Next thing we want, Static Cling. 2 points into this. Force Slow is a very good ability. It doesn't get used as often as it should, I think. It slows the enemy down and deals initial damage, and it has pretty good range, which with a lot of your abilities are only very close range. Using a Force Slow to slow them down, you can cast that at range and then catch up to them, which works quite well. Next thing we want to get here is Saber Conduit. 2 points into that. Surging Charge now restores 10 force when you damage an enemy with it, so which is happening once every 4.5 seconds as you're attacking, and so it's granting extra force. Now Electric Ambush I don't actually put points into. I don't like to use Recklessness very much with the cooldown and everything. It's reduced by this, but still I don't find I need to build 3 static charges instantly when they're going to be effective on their own anyway. So I don't need to be hitting that just to get my static charges up. I'd rather use the points elsewhere. Pick up Low Slash, slash the target, and incapacitates them for 4 seconds. Now they're incapacitated for 4 seconds, but if you hit them afterwards, it'll break early. But that's not really a problem. So don't worry about hitting them with this and then having to wait 4 seconds or anything. If you throw this on them, they're still going to stop them in their tracks, and they're not going to be able to do anything while you're lining up the next hit on them. So you can either use it and then go invisible and come in or just use a maul, get it behind them, use maul to attack them from behind. So that's going to work out well. Next thing I don't pick up is Entropic Field. This one here is just a damage reduction that stacks. It's only small amounts and doesn't really affect it that much, and we're focusing on damage here, not trying to get more armor or things like that, so I don't put any points towards that. So I grab Crackling Blasts. Increase the critical strike damage of your discharge effects and shock. So your discharge is going to get your boosts from the surging charge going off, and so that'll get increased crit strike damage, and your shock as well, 50% more critical strike damage when you're getting your shock off. So very good. Next one, magnetism. When a target recovers from Spike's knockdown, the target's movement speed is slowed for 3 seconds. So Spike is a good one for in stealth. You can knock them off their feet and it takes them time to get up, and then you can be hitting them with attacks. And then now, once they get up, they're actually slowed by 70% for 3 seconds as well, so they can't get away. Next one here, Sith Executioner. 2 points in here. Increase all damage dealt to the targets that are below 30% max health by 6%. Additionally reduces the force cost of Assassinate, which works doubly well because you can't use Assassinate unless they are below a certain percentage of health, so it sort of synergizes very well with that. And always good to be dealing more damage the lower the health of the enemy is. Impose weakness, grab that. Low slash and spike have a 100% chance to automatically trigger duplicity on a separate 10-second rate limit. So your duplicity down here, making your maul more effective. This sort of, it says here only every 15 seconds and then 11 and then 9 seconds. This will, low slash and spike will activate it, ignoring that time limit, so it gets your duplicity up better. Next one here, nerve wracking. 2 points into that. Targets controlled by your spike or electrocute take 6% more damage. So as you know, the electrocute and spike abilities are your stun sort of things. You're knocking them over, slowing them down, or stunning them. And so they're also, when the enemy's trying to run away, you throw that on to hold them in place. They're now going to take more damage from all sources, so it's not just you, it's also friendlies attacking them will actually do more as well. And that gives us Voltaic Slash, which is the top tier thing for this. Strikes the target twice. The good thing with this one here, each use of this ability builds voltage, which gives shock 50% chance to automatically trigger surging charge off its normal rate. Stacks 2 times, and so yeah, you'll run in, come in with a maul from behind them. You've got all your up close and personal ones here, the low slash, the voltaic slash, and everything. They're going to be your big hits for up close. If they try and get away, you can throw down a force slow or an electrocute on them, and then let your attacks build up and make your next discharge and your shock more powerful. So that way you can sneak up behind them, come in with a whole bunch of big hits. If they try and run away, slow them down or stun them, and then come in with your big attacks, your force attacks, the discharge and the shock, and then rinse and repeat. So it's a very good build for high damage. Gives you a lot of mobility, getting around. Your force speed, unbreakable will going off a lot quicker with a 30% reduction in the cooldown. So yeah, give it a try. Let me know what you think, and Bonehead out.